How did you learn that you needed therapy, or like to get a therapist, or to reach out for that if it wasn't already in your
99.9% of the people around my family never did it.
Oh.
No one ever did it. No one never is talking about these conversations of, damn, Pop, so how did you bounce back from when you was on drugs, and what is the emergency route now that we take for this new generation? We so spread it out in so much of a way too. And excuse me, I'm the one that's I am creating that path where it's like, okay, let's advocate. Like, what are we gonna do if somebody who got life insurance? You got term, you got whole life. Do you know how I used to sell life insurance. So you know how these things work? So it's like, come on, yo. Do you have a will? Do we have, when grandma died, I didn't even know I had to be her power of attorney. The hospital lied to me at Foggy Bottom. I had to punch 4 holes in their wall for them to tell me that my grandma was dead.
And so you're the first one to cross over.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's the 1% though.
Yeah, no,
they say 1 to 5%.
Yeah,
1 to 5%.
Fully agree. But welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Monday. Here with my boy, Brother Howard. What's up, Brother Howard? How you doing?
How you doing, Brother Howard?
Y'all silly as hell. Y'all are silly as hell. You silly as hell.
Tell the people who you are and what it is that you do.
My name is Howard Gardner. Some on the street and from the community call me Brother Howard. Community activist, community advocator, a great dad, a full-time dad. Not a 50-50 dad, 100 dad. You know, I'm there every week. I'm there for every appointment. I'm there for maybe a little late, but we there. You know what I'm saying? Because we human. But I'm there.
From day one.
From day one. Like I said, and she's a testimony. My son's doctor. Like I say, I'm a full-time dad, community activist, a great son, a great father, a great man, an adventurer. You know, a person and a student to life that's seeking, you know, the godly way of going about things, the greatest way that we can, and the most godliest way that we can. But yes, just doing the right thing. See yourself and see things from a different person's perspective, because it's their perspective. So it's like, damn, for real?
For real.
You see that? It be meaning a lot, because it's like I said, growing up in the inner city, you're right, we don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
You see it. I ain't gonna take that credit away from what the universe, you know, already had in design into those that done it, but it's just like, man.
What you see is men letting the women take the lead.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me too, because it'd be like, damn, hold up, she ain't really curious to be like, woo woo woo, woo woo.
Yeah.
And she in the house with 4 women. So it's like her sister, her god sister, her sister, her mom. And herself, and then her brother. God's sister is the brother's girlfriend. So it's like,
God's sister is the brother's girlfriend.
Yeah. I just say God's sister, sister-in-law. They not married yet.
But did they all grow up together?
Nah, not that deep. Yeah. So I just say that's just my phrase, because they not married. So I'm like, I guess God's sister-in-law, I guess, but. And she works in a daycare, so it's like
the god sister works.
Yeah, and then the sister works. The sister is a mom too. So my son is their mom's second grandchild. So her mom was really excited to really push for that, you know, in the beginning, and we're gonna probably talk about that too. But you know,
What, you being a wonderful dad, or just the family dynamic behind you being a wonderful dad?
it was a dynamic. I ain't gonna hold you, because we had to figure out if it was mine, y'all. So we had to pop that bubble, and then I thank the universe and the ancestors for allowing me to be strong, to really articulate where my mental was at and where my emotions was at too, and where I stood at. So it was just like those 3 things: disattach, reattach, and perspective. I was like, damn, all right. and we worked together. So it was like, damn, I reached the ultimate climax of mixing business with pleasure. I made a child. And mixing, mama say, be careful mixing business with pleasure.
Yeah.
And, you know, it went to that level. And so it was like, damn, all right. Get over that, Howard. All right, now you really need to know. And then, you know, you ain't about to ghost this child for sure. You definitely ain't about to do that. That's not even in your DNA, Kendrick. I ain't got no sucking nothing in my blood, so that's not even in your thought right now. How clear your mind up, leave the drugs alone. You know, being real, like. And I wasn't a fast going. You got your nonprofit. You got a lot going. You are grieving. So leave them drugs alone. Now you about to head down. That's the motivation to really say, okay, boom, drop that stuff, Howard. You was doing it so you can kill yourself. That's why I painted my nails black, and I really tapped into just reading into indigenous cultures of ourselves. I don't like to say Black Americans or African Americans. I like to say Ethiopian Americans.
Why Ethiopian?
Specifically because, to my research, I don't know if you watched the documentary Hidden Colors, African, that's the name of a European American man. And he was a man that that helped, I forget the specific part of Africa come out of a revolution of something that they was going through. So the people praised him. He was like MLK, you know what I'm saying? They praised him, and then they went on to run on with that. I believe his name was African Scorpiana. And he looked like Gandhi. Bald glasses, but he was a European American guy. And he helped that specific area. And then when you even ask the native people, the indigenous people there, Africa was called many names before it was called Kush, it was called Egypt, it was called Kemet. You know, it was called many names. It was called Ethiopia. It was called the Ethiopia Sea before it went to the Pacific Sea. So, as far as my research goes, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, when I tapped in and really started really look into that, I was like, oh, interesting. And then I seen multiple sources for me to be like, okay, yeah, this is credible for me. And believing in things it goes deep, y'all. That's another subject, but yeah.
Have you ever been able to travel to Africa?
Not yet. Definitely on the bucket list to even own land there and really go back there and to heal my mom is sick, so she's dealing with HIV. So tapping back to Alfredo Bowman, aka Dr. Sebi, as you said. Some people say that. No, some people say Doc, some people say that. No, Doc. Some people say that. So I used to say it like that too. So yeah, some people say that's the correct way of saying it. All that to say, his real name was Alfredo Bowman before he transitioned and put that name. Going to tropical lands, going to lands where you can really heal your body, where the water and the air and the pollution and the soil is good. That's where healing can really take place for people that are chronically sick with diseases that's not curable in the USA. Just like it's thousands of chemicals and foods that's not even allowed in different countries. But here in America, our great country, the CDC and the FDA approve of these things.
Like metals being in your food when they shouldn't be there.
And so I have a great debate with that. It's like, okay, Western medicine, how long y'all gonna keep, I ain't gonna say certain words, but how long y'all gonna keep hoodwinking us? You know what I'm saying? How long y'all gonna keep hoodwinking us and not really, medicine come from a plant too. Yeah. So it's like, if we really think about it, when we really sit down, people, medicine come from a plant. You know, and they just put other things into it to stretch it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And not only stretch it out, they also put other things into it for us to have to stay on that instead of getting better, unfortunately, depending on how the system is made and the marketing behind it. Yeah, it's not across the board, but it is found in a lot of places. So
no.
A lot of people challenge me. Howard is the only one that's challenged me with a base in education. Like,
what you mean?
You do your research?
But it's legitimate research. Like people do research on TikTok or like WebMD and stuff, but Howard has some real basis behind what he's asking.
Yeah, he goes to the
For
source.
instance, the toothpaste thing. You're like, well, can I use charcoal toothpaste on the baby? I'm like, that's not been my training, but sure, try it and let me see how it goes. Like, you know, a lot of people just come in with these preconceptions, or like they've heard a theory that westernized medicine is trying to poison us, and they don't have any like real background or research, and just going off of this, you know,
books. What grandma used to say?
Folklore, like, oh, I just don't want them to have it because I don't want them to have it, but not really having a dialogue about why you don't, so we could talk about it and I can dispel some of the myth that might exist within whatever it is that you believe. But Howard is willing to try both.
I think you're a very open person, though, you're a very open person, which is magical, right? So like, you don't go into a conversation knowing you're going to say no. You go into a conversation saying, hey, just let me know where the source is or what you've heard so I could build a different profile, instead of you telling me, well, I heard this person say on social media who heard it from this person, who heard it from this person. But it's like, I need a source.
I approach everybody the same, but people have interacted with doctors who are not open, and so they already come in defensive. Like, I already know what you're going to say, so I'm going to stand tall in this thing, even if it's based in ignorance. Like,
I ain't gonna hold you. Not to cut your wisdom. I really thought we was gonna have that dynamic. I swear to banks. I thought we was gonna have that dynamic, because I was like, okay, I see she's a very knowledgeable, and she's serious about it. She's a young Ethiopian American lady. It's practice, because I still say black lady or black man, you know, things of that nature. So it's practice. I ain't gonna hold you guys. But I said she's very knowledgeable. She's very, what's the right word? She's
astute.
She's a stud about her information and what she's doing. And that's what I had to switch my emotions going through that phase that I was going through. Because I was still working. I'm like, yo, okay, chill out, Howard. And I grew up around nothing but women, 75% women. I'm the baby of 3 sisters, so it's like, I already know how to deal with the personality types, you know, of women. I learned the game from her. I was around my great grandma, so it was like, okay, how would this see her through? And it was even to the point, not throwing nobody under the bus, it was conversations of like, man, do we maybe want to switch doctors? You know what I'm saying? Real talk, you know, just being real. And I'm just being real, you know, 2025, we gotta be real. We gotta be open, we gotta be truthful. I was like, man, do I really like this woman? No funny, I had to really ask myself, do I really like this woman? But then I had to think about my son. And I was like, I like where she's going in the direction of my son. I like her sense of urgency, her diligentness, how she's, so what's going on? How come, you know? It was so
right to the point.
Yeah, it was so militant. It was so. I was like, I like this. I'm taking heed from it. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning from it too.
Yeah.
And I know I like to come in with the nutritional things, because that's the things that I'm studying for my mom, my grandma before she died. These are things, and I studied from the sick women that was around me. A lot of the women around me been sick. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my uncles and the men in my family that's elders, like, deceased. It's still the women around, spread it out, but a lot of them passed away too. So my grandma had 8 siblings. I think it's 3 of them, 2 of them left. Uncle Richard and Aunt Curly. And so it was like, wow. Then my mom died at like 36 of a heart attack. So, which was years ago. My dad was like 21. My dad like 55, 56 right now. So it was like, understanding these things, I was like, yo, okay. And then growing up and seeing what the universe allowed me to be in, to learn. I was always in sex ed classes. I was always blown away with learning about the body and how psychology works of the mind. And here I am finding out my mom was diagnosed with HIV. Here I am learning that my grandma was sick. People are sick, and I'm learning what these sicknesses are doing to their body. And I'm like, wow, look what God always placed me in. I was always learning about wilderness, learning how to survive, learning how to camp, how to do it. You know what I'm saying? My mom couldn't afford Boy Scouts, but I was always in programs because I was always coming back. Mom, I want to do this, I want to do. So it was always like that. And my pop just being humble, just being the pop to be there. So it was like I had to be very pivotal and revert back to my son.
Does growing up, losing all those people make the clock in the background for everyone's time a little bit louder for you?
Whoa. I mean, that's a beautiful question, bro. I mean, now I'm being 30 and just looking at how things are, yes. Then, 5 years ago, 10 years ago when I was 20 and 25, no. I was just like, man, we gonna be out here, man. Things gonna be like this forever. But now getting 30, now having my own flesh of flesh and blood of blood, my son is like, damn, how you got a kid now? You see some folks with kids and he or she may have passed away. Wow, this is really life now. You know, your mom and dad still, they love that they have for each other, which is their love. I always tell my friends and peers and family, like, yo, leave our parents' love alone. You know, I see some of our peers and family members be so caught up on our parents' love. Man, I don't mess with my dad, I don't mess with my, leave that love alone. Just love them for them. And then that's less anxiety for you. And you will have the good word, you know, whether you spiritual, religious or not. I'm very spiritual, grew up religious. We all had the indoctrination. We all had it. We still go through it. I was just like, this is the love that I ultimately want, which my mom and dad had. But going back to that, yeah, yes. Today, it's like, man, well, you know, my 16-year-old nephew trying to kill himself, to saying like, wow, okay, this is within the past 4 or 5 months, you know, so that's still a process that's been recovering, and me not having that communication with my sister, you know, and me being his father figure. I have 6 nephews, 4 nieces, so I had a lot of practice before my boy came. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I was excited, but then it was like, are we clear with this, Sade? Yeah. Are we clear, Sade? Is this what we truly want? Are we healthy for this? I know we was just both having some mental trips, this, that, and the third. And it got past that, but like I said, going back to that, it's like, I did, you know, and I do look at life like at a totally different perspective outside of even having my son. Life would have probably still been going on outside of me having my son, how it's been going on for people, health and whatever. And it's like, damn, such and such passed away, or such and such dealing with this. Mm-hmm. You know, I try to help such and such and bring them some sea moss, some black seeds, some oregano oil. When I was 22, they said no. And now they on dialysis, can't see, and you 39, 40.
Yeah.
And you got grandkids now. And it's like, yo, you can't even see your grandkids. And I'm like, yo, with all due respect, I told you.
So what was going on in your life before, can we say his name? Your son?
Yeah.
Before Mansa was born, that led you to depression and to using drugs?
Inner city blues. You know, the concrete jungle. Gil Scott Heroin. The revolution is now televised.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to that ancestor. I was, you know, my nonprofit started 2020. I was still figuring myself out. I was at the place of where I had just lost my place. So a lot of people ain't know that. But
your house?
Yeah, where I was staying at, like, not even lost my place. It was just like, okay, it was a career change, and I went into a career change, and then I was in a relationship / entanglement, stayed with her and her family, and then I had left there, and then a protest started. I was staying at a family relative, a friend of my house that I thought was family, I thought was someone solid. That went completely weird. Like, I had got a new job. His brother helped me get a job. This was my best friend at the time. Helped me get a job. His younger brother, I was paying rent at the place to my god auntie and all that, and a crazy story came up. I lost some money, and it's like, everybody gotta go even if I find the money. It's like, what the hell, what? Yo, you know I'm doing this. I clean this house. Uncle Henry in that room with his nurse. I'm mopping his house. I'm telling y'all, get the hell out. It's too much weed going on up here. It's too much in and out going on up here. Uncle Henry needed to have some peace and quiet. I was bringing structure to the place, and they knew that. But then, you know, that was where all our guys came at. So it was just like, it was inevitable. But then along with that, I had started with the protest, and then my best friend, I was staying at my best friend and my other family's house. So I had clothes at their house, but then the protest started. So I was down there every day, and I had this job. I was the manager at an ice cream shop, Jenny's ice cream shop. Shout out to Jenny's. That, I ain't even gonna say shout out to Jenny's. Let me take that back. It was a good chapter. You know, it was a lot of networking, a lot of great people I met, a lot of great relationships that I still have to this day that I met there. I had all of the because they was always going up 14th Street, and Jenny's is like right there on the back street from 14th and U Street.
Yeah.
So
right there,
right across the street, diagonally from the McDonald's, and then you got Jenny's and Trader Joe's right there. So Jenny's is right there, and that's the #1 Jenny's. That ice cream shop brings in $1 million a week. So that joint was all, and I was always telling buddies that I met at the pro, come up there, holler at me, man. If it's your birthday, come up there, holler. You know what I'm saying? Ask your brother how. This you ain't about to blow my name up. I will check you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other side, other Howard, you know what I'm saying? I had to go, you know, be street Howard. It was like, yo, you know, all due respect though, yeah, you come, yeah, we gonna be good. And people was coming, so Jenny was making great money. And then here's George Floyd. I got fired from there, and I was pulling down the Black Lives Matter sign in the window because I'm like, why are you all of a sudden putting this up when George Floyd be all these folks dying?
They fired you because you were pulling it down.
Yeah, the district manager, Lauren or Laura, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's receipts. Calling out names.
I remember you.
Yeah. It was crazy. She would never speak to me, but she would always hear great things about me and seeing how I worked and seeing customers say, "Man, thanks for the experience in here.
Yeah.
You the district manager. You should want someone representing you and your company to look like this." And I had a cool little time, and I really had. That was my first time working at an ice cream shop. Money was decent. I was okay, and I was getting myself stable, looking for another place until I left my friend's house. Long story short, that had happened like that. The protest came along. I met great people. Then met someone. Throughout that background process, I was in that entanglement relationship with that young lady, and then I lost Jenny's, the job. Kept pulling that down. A week later, I went to Trader Joe's at Eastern Market. We was at my nonprofit we used to be outside every day. But then once, you know, the team grew smaller and the vision grew bigger, it was literally like you seen everybody was in that. Once paperwork, we was like, man, let's take this to a business level. We ain't know each other. You seen individuals like, man, I can't really do that. You're like, damn, why not? So, you know, we ain't know each other, so we was like, all right, what's your reason though? You know, me being how I grew up, I'm going to kind of soft press the situation. Like, yo, what's up? Why you can't, you know? So, you know, a lot of folks fell off, and then I was the talking piece. So it was like a lot of people was looking to me. You know, we got a documentary on YouTube for the build-up and all of that. So it was like, everybody, brother how. So they was thinking that I was running this thing,
You're not gonna plug the documentary?
Yes. The documentary name is called Free the People. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's called Free the People. It's 3 parts to it. It's Free the People Part 1, Free the People Part 2, Free the People Part 3. Kensugi. Shout out to Kensugi, aka Ken, aka Kensugi, changed his name. He was the director and videographer behind that made that documentary come true. Thank him so much. He's out of Baltimore. I forget his specific Instagram name at the moment. It'd be probably something Juice can probably plug in so you guys can check it out.
Is this on a Purpose Party YouTube page, or like how did
this is actually on YouTube, and then this is actually on our Instagram as well, if I'm not mistaken. Because our website, you know, we got it together, but you know, we never been transparent. We never kept up with it. So shout out to any starting off, keep up with y'all website. You know, it's wise because you got older folks that don't have social media, and they want to contribute to whatever great organization you may have, but then they say, where's the website? You got people that still love websites, so please just keep up with our website, learn those basics, which we're still doing in our 5th year. So we're in the make or break point of developing businesses and small businesses, and for us to be where we're at, we just clinched a physical sponsor. So now we're able to the goal is to get $200,000 by the end of this year. So now we're able to clinch bigger grants. We're able to pay our volunteers. We have 8 to 12 volunteers. So now we're moving to the bigger levels of being potentially, and we are going to be at the levels of a Martha's Table, a Bread for the City, a Miriam's Kitchen.
You pay your volunteers?
No, not at the moment. So it was a level where we being real, we used to contribute, little stipends, transportation for them, a few dollars from the donations that we get from people donating to, because we have a cash out, we had a Venmo. And so, the cash we would, contribute $20 to $10 to an individual, because some of the volunteers will be homeless. Some of our volunteers are homeless, that we have worked with and that's still around. We had more volunteers, but the solid ones that we do have is probably 8 to 12 of them. So they all got different stories, and some of them got different needs, and we ain't judged, as long as you came over there and had structure when you came underneath this table.
Yeah, speaking of stories, back to depression and addiction.
You lost your apartment or your friend's house.
Yeah, I lost my friend's house. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me.
He's the editor. He's gonna make it.
We got you.
I lost my apartment with my friends, so then I met some friends in a protest. Got that. It was a room inside of a house. I didn't really have a big need of having a big apartment, and then renting DC is ridiculous. So it's me being such I'm not a ego trip of a man. I'm a very prideful man. Also, I know when to throw that pride away though completely and just be like, shut up, Howard. You got some pride. Pride is the greatest victorious to man, as some of the men told me that I grew up around, and some of the women. That's the greatest victorious to man, pride, because we allow ourselves not to say yes to the right things but say no to the wrong things, and vice versa. So met these great people, rented out a space. I had the space. It was just good for me. That was going well. I was losing people.
Like they passed away?
Yeah. So throughout the time of 2020.
Was it violence or was it?
It was violence. It was gun violence. About at least 70% of those people I lost, 80% of those people was due to gun violence. I lied, 90%. And a lot of those brothers was family. About 2-3 of them was family. And the rest was God family. We grew up since kids. I changed some of them diapers. Some of their diapers. I'm 30, so a lot of them was 24, 23, 21 when they died. I changed some of them boys' diapers. I literally washed them. I used to break up fights from them fighting with my god brother over the scooter on the playground. Or who took the last fruity out the bag?
Boring questions.
You see what I'm saying? Damn, maybe they just came damn, why you eat my last fruity out my tissue roll out my bag? So it was some of them guys I was just with, on a block with them chopping it up. That's where my name Brother Howard comes from. I'm from Northwest DC, born and raised, and Columbia Heights to be specifically. I lived in every neighborhood. My mom didn't want me to live on the south side, so she always kept her government voucher in Northwest. Mm-hmm. So I lived on literally every hood on 14th Street.
Yeah, there's a lot of neighborhoods in there.
You got CTU, you start from W Street, then you go to CTU, then you go to G-Rod, then you go to CHV, then you take it down to 3500, and then you take it all the way down to Spring Road where the Latinos be at, So I ain't live all of it, but I live from W Street to CTU to Meridian.
Yeah. So you avoided the Garfield side then?
Yeah. That's actually where my kid mom was, she was from. She grew up with my god brother. So that's why it was chemistry. It was so she was 6 years young. So you grew up with my god brother. She's yeah, I used to play with such, you was with such, but I don't even remember you. It was I really didn't remember. It was what? You used to play with such, they was bad as hell. You used to hang with them, yeah. Wow, my little brother was bad as hell too, but I used to try to keep him out of that way, but woo. Yeah, Marley G was da-da-da-da-da. So that's how that chemistry, when we was working together, it was like that. So came along, but I was losing a lot of people. And I was in and out of figuring myself out, truly redefining myself, because I was in a great company selling financial literacy, which taught me so much and gave me the infrastructure to do what I'm doing now. It gave me the vision, the target, the aim. And that's a company that I shout out to, which is called Primerica. I don't know if you guys heard of it. They talk about a lot of financial literacy, investing, life insurance, health insurance, Legal Shield, and it was a beautiful company, and it taught me so much, y'all. And that's a company that I'm definitely revisiting, and I've been a silent partner with from that point on, because I had stepped off and started working on my investment license when I was working at the ice cream shop. So I knew I wasn't going to be at the office to really be at appointments, dealing with clients as much. So I was like, let me still have some income coming in so I can keep a roof over my head. I know I'm going through this situation at home. It's been slow at the office. How to get your investment license? That's how you can get bigger bag. Your team is growing. You got 3 to 4 licensed people on your team with you, agents with you. All right, just keep going. But then it was still that niche to that you could take the hood from the boy, but you can't take the hood from the boy. So it's like, I was still for the neighborhood. I was still for the community. I was always a community advocate, activist. Like I said, Brother Howard came from that. Out of the 4 young men that was calling me that, 2 of them are deceased and 2 of them are incarcerated. Both of them, I believe, got like 5 years, and they did like at least 2.5, 3 years already. So they basically doing a 6-7 year bid. Young guys, 25, 26. Jaylon and Muddy. And it messed my head up, because I'm like, damn, I watched these boys grow up, and they gave me this name because that was their way of showing love. Like when you about to come around Juice, you the big bro that you watch everybody, you watch me grow up. Oh, here come Juice, y'all. What's the word of the day, brother Juice? That's how they was doing me. You know what I'm saying? What's the word of the day, Doc? You know what I'm saying? Oh, Lord, you about to start preaching your positive stuff. What you about to preach now, man? And so that's how it was. You know how our inner city communities is. Us black folks, we always gotta down it before we up it type of situation. That's how that came about, and I looked at that as inspiration. I looked at that as that's love that they giving me, that they couldn't really give nobody else, or had no one in their life to get that to. They ain't had that father figure or that true big brother figure that's positive and standing on it. Yeah. So it's like, J-Main say a lot of these guys that a lot of these street folks look to. I've been pushing P. That's what I tell these young. I've been pushing P. Y'all was clowning me. Y'all be, oh, here come brother, I put everything up. I don't even want him to. They say that because
P stands for purpose.
Yes.
Pushing purpose.
Yeah. Purpose, positivity.
I like it.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was a great moment to realize that amongst the kids, and I transformed that, not to let it down me. Like, man, they really don't like me, and they got really clown me, call me Brother Howard. I really took that. It was like, man, they really look at me, and this is their way of showing me that they love me. Yes, I had my father around, but then he ain't showing me those things. He always hugged and kissed me, and I still hug and kiss my father to this day. And my nephews, I do with my nephews. I say, you hug a man you love and kiss a man you love. You know what I'm saying? Not on the mouth, but on the cheek, man. Both bow, get out of there. You ain't gotta be all extra. You know what I'm saying? And so I teach my nephews that. So every time they say, get my love, man. Come on, man. Same thing with my son. He's only 20 months, so it's like.
But he's blowing kisses.
Yup. He's a big lover. That's that Gemini. He get that from me. Get that from his mom. He learned that from his mom. Shout out to her and auntie and grandma, all at the house. But like I said, I was losing a lot of people, y'all, and it was messing me up. And I was, since a youngin', I was kind of in and out. I was like that Kid Cudi kid. I was that Kid Cudi that Kendrick Lamar kid. We grew up in the inner city, and we really seen it all, but however, we ain't allow it to really be us, and we got picked on for being so different. You know what I'm saying? I got picked on for having the Mr. T Mohawk back in the days. Even though I was a big boy, I was always smiling and goofy and playing. So I had to put on that tough character a lot. And I was the type to go get my dad. I'm about to go get my father, man. And when he'd come down, he'd play like he ain't even know me. And I used to hate that. But then I already showed him who the boy was or the boys was, and he'd play like he ain't even know me. I'm like, why he doing it instead of checking him? But then he'd be on the basketball court, he'd keep bullying them or, letting them know, man, come on, we playing basketball, what you getting mad for? So he'd break it down to him like, yo, that's my son over there, right? You was bullying him. He said that you was messing with him, man, this is basketball, right? He said you took his basketball. So he'd break it down with kids, so I used to see how my father would do it. And it was like, okay, I see what he did now. Okay. He probably could have took a different angle, but because that could have still been dangerous. You don't know if that them little boys' uncle sitting in the car right there, he could have probably took a different angle because they emotional maturity may not be there. They emotional navigation system may not be. Once they see you probably doing that to their son or their nephew or little brother, they probably, hey man, what you doing that to me? So thank God it was never that situation. And my dad knew how to carry that. Shout out to him. But I was losing a lot of people and I wanted to do different drugs. Everybody did drugs around me. That was inevitable. I ain't gonna hold you. My grandma was on drugs when I was a little boy. She was rocking on the couch. So I seen it. My uncle sold it to her. So it was like, I really seen certain things that was just like, wow, I ain't know grandma was high. That's why she was tripping and talking to herself, talking to the wall. That's why I developed talking to the wall. I literally used to talk to the wall too. So it was very interesting. It was very interesting in the household.
Also, truly being a product of your environment.
Yeah. It was for me, and this is all in Northwest. Like I said, my mom ain't want me to live on the South, but everything that she ain't want me to see, I seen any damn way. So it was like, shout out to her though. She did the greatest that she can do, and for the most part, I had a 90% two-parent household my whole life. Mm-hmm. My dad was just in and out of jail, probably had his little drug moments, but he was there. Yeah, he was there, even though he probably didn't. I tell people this all the time. I learned by listening to my dad's actions.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
And you gotta let that sink in. Some people gotta let that sink in. I learned by listening to my dad's actions. And it was like, damn. He ain't talk too much about things, but my dad walking in the house, we had carpet. If I ain't had my socks on, he was the type that would walk past you and just step on your feet. You would look at him. Alright, let me go in the room. I just wanted to come out and grab some Kool-Aid and get back to the game real quick. Hour later, I need some more Kool-Aid, get some cookies real quick. Grab a banana. He done did it again.
What's the point of stepping on your feet?
Man, I told you put your socks on.
Why you gotta have socks on?
It's cold in here. You get sick. You got carpet. The heat on. Let me get hot. Why dirty the bottom of my sock? Keep walking past all this. Not saying the carpet dirty, but keep walking past all the carpet like I'm gonna dirty my socks. Or where am I saying? I don't want to do that. That's my thinking. But what you talking back for? I'm like, Pop, do I really need to put on my sock? I'm in a room. I'm not.
You're at home.
I'm at home, Pop. What you do? But he was so institutionalized. He was so institutionalized. He was so militant to the point. And his uncles was in the military. My uncle's my great uncle. So he was so institutionalized and that military background, street, hypnotized with the street. So it's like all of that of a concoction led to him doing things like that. And then man, you talking back? Bow, smack the hell out of me. Like, damn, Pop. All right.
Yeah.
What's interesting about your story so far is that you've got this like Africanism, Afro, I forget what you call
Afrocentric.
it. No, the future African, the Afro-futurism. I think that's what it is, Afro-futurism.
It's a new one for me.
You're always invested in like medicine, herbs, natural remedies, but then also you have this exposure to drug use.
Yeah.
Which kind of contradicts everything that you're doing.
I know, right?
Yeah. So like, how do those two things coexist in one person? Is it like
how did that even come together?
Is that an internal battle constantly? Like you are always trying to pick good over evil, or like Like how do you work through that? And
Y'all actually some really like spot on questions. I would watch this back to back because it was like, wow, y'all really, truly like really hitting it on. Like I never been asked these questions, yo, at all, and that's some thought behind that. However, I don't know. Like I said, how the universe really just positioned me to be that seeking young steward, young man, that little boy that was in the hood, but it was like, yeah, I'm up Columbia Heights. Yeah, it looks sweet up here, but you'll get blown up. You had some youngers run up on you. You had some poppies run up on you. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All of it is very diverse. Yeah, bull crap if you want. Go to Chick-fil-A, go to the Krispy Kreme if you want to.
The poppies back in the day were vicious.
Go to the DTLI that was up there. They closed it down. Why? Because as soon as you got them new shoes that you was standing in line for, who was ready to rob you? Us around there. That Target, all that, you know what I'm saying? It was a fun tutorial of life. And then, you know, the peer pressure that man, come on, you the biggest. You know what I'm saying? Man, hey, if you don't put that man in the air while we go in his pockets. If you don't put him in the headlock, all we gotta do is we gonna rip his body. We even gotta pull a gun. Dog, I don't really want. Why are we doing this, bro? Why we just don't go hustle and go get the shovels real quick and just bust this? Let's go steal a damn leaf blower.
Yeah. And then what makes it worse is when you get an actual job, you realize, hey, instead of these licks, we could have just been going to work.
So me, I had to really break away from that so much too, which was hard. But like I said, going back to your question, it's saying my grandma get clean, relapse, get clean, relapse. She was a major inspiration. My uncle died on my birthday, January 28th, 1999, going into 2000.
Condolences.
Thank you. He, like I said, he was selling drugs to my grandma. He was the provider. He was, even though my dad was right there, my dad was on it. He was selling to my dad. My dad was stealing from him. It's probably TMI, but it's inspiration. It's to the point where conspiracy will say through the grapevine, my dad is the reason why he died. He got killed because my uncle kept coming back short to the plug. So it was like, that time that my uncle came back short to the plug, it was like, man, ain't you messing with such and such? So it's like, here my dad is jumping out of 640 building, which is a project up Columbia Heights on Georgia Avenue, not too far from Howard University, which they knocking down right now.
I used to live on Lamont.
Oh, you're very familiar. You're very familiar. You right there.
Yeah.
Your block was the hot block. You know what I'm saying? That's where the cars had the licks at. People with Texas tags with a big ass MacBook bag in the back. You see glass every day beside cars because there was always a lick on that block.
Your dad was jumping out the window because...
Yeah, he was on drugs, man. He was on drugs. He was on crack, and it was interesting. It was very interesting hearing these stories. And my dad would tell me, man, I jumped off the damn 5th floor. Or 4th floor at the 640 building, man. Because 640 buildings are not, it's probably...
Like four stories high.
Yeah, 4 stories high, exactly. Man, I jumped off the 4th floor, man, out the damn window to get away. I'm like, hey, high.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and it's
wow.
all concrete around there. Ain't no soft ground. Yeah.
He on the money, so it's like, how the hell, what the hell? Man, I had to get out of there, man. And listen to my pop, you know, thank God I let that, man, I hate my pop, you know, that resentment that I grew up with, kind of, sort of, I kind of let that go so I can grow into this better person that I need to grow into, which I know that I'm going to be, which I'm going into today and further on. So it was like, I love my pop. Like I said, I still kiss my pop on his cheek. So most guys like that type stuff, yeah, you and your father. And my pop would be standing right there when he drunk, kissing the hell out of my pop. All right, chill, you keep kissing my cheek. But
that's the love he had to give you.
Yeah, that's the guilt too. It's also the guilt that eats him up.
But it's amazing and fascinating that through all of his institutionalized experience and environment, he's still able to produce that for you, which is why you can give it to Mansa.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of my boys say that.
I'm really fascinated by you, Howard.
Thank you.
We don't get this much time in our usual interactions, but like, I'm glad that I am getting to understand.
Understand.
Understand?
Because now you coming into the world of me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying too, you know.
Yeah.
You coming, you saying, like you said, you ain't understand that. Now you understand. You understood, but you coming to, now you morally eye to eye with it.
Right.
Though we may have different totally backgrounds.
And it gives me a deeper perspective on why, when I'm saying what I'm saying, I say the same thing to everybody when I'm at work. But people cannot usually receive it. It might be because maybe they want to do better, but they don't have the outside support or environment. They have these two experiences. Maybe the doctor is telling them everything that they should be doing, but outside of that office, it's impossible to implement those things. Like, it's hard to change a family with just one person. And also, it's hard to change a family and trust a person who's not even from the neighborhood that you're going back to. Like,
Yeah.
I've been in DC a long time, but I never experienced the old DC. The DC that I've experienced is this new gentrified version.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of like as real as I am, and as honest as I am, I just never, I will never get it. That's how it feels like.
Yeah.
You can live it through us though. I'm pretty sure Juice probably gave you some story. Where you from, Juice?
I'm from Jersey.
Okay, you did say that. I remember you saying you from Jersey.
We all have a common black experience, and it's not like I've never experienced the hood like through my family and stuff, but like the DMV is such a unique place.
It
and
is.
The people in the DMV don't realize it. Like,
it is.
Yeah.
they believe that this is how it is everywhere, and it is not.
No.
And so it limits their ability to think beyond what's here. Like,
Yeah. And I think another thing that's important, which you bring it up, is getting to know the history of what was here before we got here. To me, has probably been my most important decision when it comes to living in DC and experiencing what the city not only has to offer, but understanding why certain things are the way that they are and how do you exist in that.
We have Marion Barry. He was like the greatest mayor ever, right? He also was on crack. Like, I mean, doing great things, but then also, we're not supposed to say that. Is that
as they say, as I like to say.
Greatest mayor of all time, but still had obvious shortcomings. Like, created the summer youth employment program.
Yeah.
Which is still here today, decades after.
Still fighting.
Housing programs, he also.
Exactly.
But then they don't give thanks to either,
but then he's not respected because he had this addiction, or he did things that were part of old DC probably, like, you know.
And he owned a DC jail.
And he owned a DC jail.
His son was going to get it. That's another story, but
No, tell her, you here now.
He owned a DC jail, but he's trying to employ black youth, like it.
And it was dichotomy. He went to Howard University, which I always tell people that's my name, but that's one horrible ass hospital. However, I seen people die. I had people die in my family, and almost lost my grandma and my god grandma, which is interesting. God grandma, but yeah, that's another story. But yeah, that hospital was some crap, and they knew that, and that was the whole get up of that, because he was going to be modeled. You see, they remodeled every damn thing around that damn jail. Put new condos and some more right there. So it's like, yo, how the hell y'all do all that? Put a new school right there, but ain't remodeled this jail. And I got a lot of folks up there. I sent a lot of money over there to them boys. And they like, man, the conditions up in this joint vicious. Water leaking through the wall. This, that, and the third. And they be like, yo, you serious? So it's like, and just to know that, and then people getting sick, falls pneumonia, and things of that nature, is cold. My mom was in the Harriet Tubman shelter behind there, which is the all-women's shelter behind there. She just recently got her voucher 2-3 years ago. She lost like 3 friends in there because of the condition. They still ain't remodeled that.
Yeah. And they don't have any plans on remodeling it either.
She lost 3 friends. I said, damn. And my mom is HIV positive, and so she got like 2 sinus infections, and you know that can really mess with. And she caught a lot of those, and I was damn near about to choke them damn security guards out. I had to take them people to go to the town. All that, like, really and my mom, they had to get her up out of it because that's where I get it from. That's where I get it from. Speaking up, she was really speaking up. They called my mom Miss Pinky. And all the ladies used to call my mom, Miss Pinky, you need to sell them something, because she was the talking piece. And she was clear-minded, and she was in it for a while, but.
When I got to DC, it was like the DC hospital. It's by the new DC jail.
DC General?
DC General, and it was a homeless shelter.
Yep.
And I was in residency, so we would go there to like do care once a week or something. But they were closing it down.
Yep.
With no plan for the people that were using it for their living space.
No, they had a plan for that money though.
And now, let's say that was 7 years ago. Now you see like all the restaurants and the condos and it's just, but the jail's still standing. It's just,
shout out to DC. They did put that low income housing right there. As soon as you come up out of there, that building, that new condo, it was all on the news. Mary Bowser did open up that building for low income housing, and 90% of that building is low income. I had a buddy that works the front desk over there.
But if you make it low income housing and everything else around it reflects that the person living there should not be there, like that, you're not really accomplishing much. Like you're still making people feel like their home, DC, their home that they've known their entire lives is no longer for them.
You're a visitor in your own city.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a visitor, you're unwelcomed. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
To a degree.
yeah. How do you deal with that? Like, old DC versus DC today?
It's tough, cause these YNs, these young guys, man, they different.
I'm surprised you use the term YN. I would not expect you to use it.
I know, right? I'm just giving thanks to this AKA culture. That's what it is, and the culture of these YNs, man. I'm still a young dude. You still a young lady. You be still young as hell. I say 65 and younger is young, because you got 65-year-olds still trying to dress like their granddaughters, look like their and I ain't gonna say.
That's another story.
Yeah. I'm about to sound like a granddaddy, but literally, like, it's going out into society today is like it'd be a little chill. It's more things to do, but then it's like, man, you be stuck in one position. Like, damn, you gotta spend money just to go enjoy yourself, but then you gotta know how to also go out and have fun and just also seek things. Because you got these apps, you got technology with Eventbrite where you can do a lot of things. And me, for being an outsy person to now being such a at-home body and being a dad, it's just like, man, I need to pick up new hobbies. And I had to force myself to really fish out. So thank you for that journal you gave me when we first came to your first event on Mississippi Avenue. Because that's the book that I just started to really be intentional about of doing my journaling. And you gave us a 5-year one, then there was another one. And so I just been taking advantage to write in the 5-year one. And
that's awesome. Yeah, you're welcome.
I literally just started to really be, because I had a breakdown moment like a week and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, damn, this is what life is really about to be. Everyone is so into themselves, which is a beautiful thing, but then it's like, man, where's the human love? Where's the love for humanity and connecting genuinely with one another? And I'm such a intentional person of getting to want to know a person, and so I know my level of love people not even aware of. So it'd be like it kind of throw him for a loop. Is he really for real? Or sometimes my love be too strong for him too. So it's like I can tell, I could tell, like. And then I like I said, I'm an inner city boy, so it's like inner city man. So it's like you gonna hear me say certain things that you probably never heard, but then it's like it's true to what this demographic of things that we deal with in this society that we may be in, or it may be your conscious mind that you never even said. There's some things that you wanted to say, but you never had the courage to say it. And I'm actually saying, you looking at me like this? You said that? Yeah, what? Walk in your dignity, man. What your big mama used to tell you. Stand up or fall for anything. You know what I'm saying? And literally, a lot of us indigenous inner city folks, we fall for anything. And it's sad. It's sad. It's very sad. Like, it's very sad. And I look at that and I say, I can't be a part of that.
Yeah.
This herd mentality, this sheep mentality.
Yeah.
Soon they say go take a jab, you're gonna take a jab. You seen what it did. I seen what it did to my nephew. My nephew couldn't even goddamn walk. That's when the breakdown of my nephew's health started to deteriorate.
Mm-hmm.
So he got on them damn antidepressants. He tried to really kill himself. Man, that's you gonna hit another passion. You gonna make me go too passionate. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that. Do you mind if we discuss that? What's going on with your nephew?
Yeah.
Is this their first bout with mental health?
With him?
Yeah.
With depression.
It started when he lost his dad, his father-in-law, which was my sister's husband, Jerome.
His stepfather.
His stepfather. You could tell I didn't really grow up in a married household. My parents say common law. They like.
But they were together.
Yeah, James and Good Times, that type of love.
Yeah, they was around.
You know what I'm saying? What's his wife? Florida. Yeah. It was that love in my household. It was real like that. Even though I'm not in that area at all. I'm only 30. That's what I was watching. Sanford and Son and that, and Jeffersons and reruns. But he lost his stepfather, and I thought his stepfather was murdered by his kid mom. Come to find out, I believe he killed himself. And so he didn't have no kids with my sister, but he had previous kids with his baby mom. I call my kid mom, CM, my child mom. We don't use those dethroning terminologies to describe one another. That wasn't even created. That was created by someone else describing our people.
Yeah, from the outside looking in.
You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, you got a baby mama. That was from another cultural folks describing us. And most folks forgot about that and still kept on running with it though. And shout out to Maury. You are not and he from DC, y'all.
Whatever it is.
Jewish, but we understand why he was capitalizing. Yeah. Another subject for another day, y'all. But
so your nephew's stepfather unfired himself.
He killed himself, and when he killed himself, y'all, my nephew, he's a big boy, I practically raised that young man, 70% of his life until Jerome came in his life. And it was like, wow, I didn't like Jerome. However, he grew on me. Rest his soul, long live his soul. He grew on me because when I seen my nieces and nephews start to call that man dad, I was like, whoa, he doing something.
He really putting in that work.
Move that pride now. Move that back. You ain't got to jack him. He was a big dude. About your frame, we played sports too. Me and him about the same age. And that was another thing. He was younger than my sister. He was my age. Probably like a year younger than me. So he probably would be 29. Probably about to go on 30.
Wow.
And my sister's 33. And I'm like, sis, why you dating this young dude? Like, he ain't got no kids with him. And then the deeper background story to that, it was still crazy. Because it was like, girl, what? But okay. I introduced the business plan to this dude. This man ain't hungry to really do nothing, and he still got you living in the conditions that you living in. That's why it was so much for me, because it's like, damn, like, what is he doing? And like I said, I just seen the impact. I had to transfer that energy and be like, man, look at these kids. They really calling this man dad.
Yeah, and then also sometimes it's realizing the things that you think people should be doing isn't what they're here for.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had to fall back, and then I seen, I'm like, okay, my sister, I see the impact that he's doing on my nephew. I see my nephew, okay, boom. And once he died, it kind of derailed my nephew a little bit, and he told me this, so it was like, it kind of made him go another way.
Yep, keep going.
It made him go another way, and it hurted him, and my sister being my sister, I love her. It was tough. It was tough for her, tough for him. And it's still tough for them, you know.
Your sister and Jerome were together when he committed suicide.
Yeah.
How did your sister support your nephew, or was she able to give support?
She did, you know, she did the best that she could do, you know. Me being like the only man in her life that I like to say that was a man in her life. It's a lot of guys out here, but it's not a lot of men out here. It's a lot of ladies out here, but it's not a lot of women out here. Listening and hearing are two different things. That's what my grandma used to say. So it's like, rest her soul. Me being the only man in her life and being a man that know whose I am and whose I am. Grandma used to say that one too. But yes, I seen my sister, you know, being the only man and being the only man that know himself. She wasn't, her father passed away. So me being a guy that grew up in Maryland. My sister was taken away from my mom. I was the only one to stay with my mom.
Why?
It was just stories that someone touched my sisters. And they didn't know if it was my grandma's boyfriend to my dad. And we don't have the same dad. Two of my sisters have the same dad and two of us have different dads. So it's four of us in total. Two of them got the same dad and two of us don't. Which is my oldest, which is 37, and me, the youngest, we got two different dads. So me and her are more eye to eye. She's the vegan. She's the only one that watches my son. She's the only one to, you know. I probably let my youngest sister that's 32, 31 watch my son, but it's like, is my twin nephew sick? Are they coughing? They always sick. So yeah, for me, I did my best with my sister because it was traumas that she still had from that situation I just told you, them being taken away from my mom, and I was the only one to stay with my mom.
Which one of your sisters is this that has the nephew?
The middle sister. So this is the one that I say is my twin. I would call my twin because me and her look just alike. You'd think that we got the same dad, everything. And Martina, she's the sister that would do anything for me. If I say go get that girl, sick 'em. Sister, man, she hit me. Who? It's not no ifs, ands, or buts. All my sisters like that, but that was, oh man, baby D. She on your ass. So it was like, man, she, you know, that's why it crushed me because to where we at now, she knows it, but it's like I ain't stressing off it no more. I can't. At first I used to, but she can't take my. She don't allow me to be the uncle for my nephews no more. She always intervene on everything that I give my nephew. Say to my nephew, give him game as a man, cause she thought I was gonna be a failure. They grew up in Bowie. They grew up in townhouses. All three of my sisters. I used to see them on holidays, stuff like that.
They got driveways.
Huh?
They got driveways.
They had driveways. Yeah. They lived in Bowie Town Center with the Bowie High School, walled off.
Well, black people don't realize that doesn't matter. Like,
it made a big difference.
You have access to things, but like if your teachings and your values and your upbringing inside of that nice, beautiful home is not good, or if it's, you know, the same as what we might perceive to be in the less opulent neighborhood, then you still come out with the same result.
That's a great word, less opulent.
No, you're right though.
I mean, you had your dad with you, and with all of his faults, he showed you love in a way that most men don't get love.
Yeah.
Did your sisters receive that same kind of love, like in Bowie?
From a manly figure, no.
Right.
That's so important.
I mean.
Yeah.
And my dad is my dad. It's not their dad, right. So.
And that played a part in their selection.
Yeah.
Of who they decided to have a family with, or, you know.
Majorly.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, when people pick their partners or they pick their situation, they usually pick it according to what they don't have or they think they need to have what they desperately want to hold on to.
Or what they've seen as an example. So like as much as you might try to not pick the abusive boyfriend, if you grew up with an abusive father, it's inevitable unless you are intentional about making a different choice.
That's what you're going to flow towards.
But just going off your instinct and your emotions, like you are going to fall into the same path. That's why generational traumas and patterns are so difficult to break, because you have to, one, be aware of them, and two, be intentional about breaking them and changing how you are to produce a different outcome.
Desperately working away from that. When it comes to, and I've heard this in a lot of your story, suicide, losing folks to mental health situations or drugs, has your family ever thought about looking at what an emergency plan would look like for your family if that situation ever comes up? Like, hey, homie's on drugs, we got to get them some help. Or, hey, there's a mental health situation, or we notice that someone's having a breakdown that we've seen before. How do we handle this?
Who's creating that? That's me now.
Yeah, and there's already a lot on you. That's why I'm asking this question.
Everything you just said, that's why you just see me say, no. Because I'm that, what you just said, I'm that character that's creating that in this generation now. I'm the one that's going to my mom like, Mom, like, I just had a little cousin over my house that got laced with drugs last week. He thought I was trying to kill him. But I'm like, dude, I just called you a damn Uber Empower ride from Georgetown Hospital using Georgetown dorms with your shoes off.
Yeah.
With mud and all over you, bro. I ain't seen you in 4 years. 3.5, 4 years. I heard, our mutual little buddies that we got, that we grew up with, they said they spoke to you, or I spoke to you over their phone and heard your voice and heard that you was work. But I ain't seen you in the flesh since 3.5, 4 years, and you at my house now. You've been laced and I'm helping you out, and now you said I'm trying to kill you. He ran out of my house, took my size 14 shoes, my big ass sweatpants. You trying to kill me? Yo, I was coming from the streets. I'm like, I got a lot of booby traps in my house. Stuff that I can get to if I need to get to handle something, right? I govern my house.
Yeah.
You govern your house. You govern your house.
Yeah.
Not them. You come in these doors. You liable to leave out of the body bag if you was trying to hurt anything up in this house. Now, if it's maturity in the situation, then God forbid, boom. But all of this, I got a lot of stuff in the house, so he got to move in, and I ain't know how he was going to lunch out and look and see some of my booby traps laying around and try to use my booby traps against me. Son already know. I talk to him, even though he's a baby. I talk to him on these things because
he needs to understand this.
Yes, he is.
He does understand.
Yeah,
he's very smart. He's my favorite.
He does not touch. By my room, I have his shoes, his piggy bank, and our other piggy bank that we save money in, his little shoes. I got a baby machete by that door. He does not never touch it. Not even when I'm turning my back. Ran to the living room real quick. Went to the bout. He never touches it. And I'm like, wow. And I got a nightstick right there. When I did security work, so an official one. And he never touches it. I'm like, wow, okay, son. And I had this talk with him already, so I'm like, okay, I already know. Even if it's money right there, he's only 20 months. He don't know that. He know what money is, but I try to put it in your piggy bank. So it's every time my cousin, man, why you got money on the phone? What you think? You trying to set me up so if the money gone? Cuz.
Yeah.
Your little, don't you see the piggy? If you peep what's going on. You see the piggy bank. Oh yeah, his little shoe. Oh, that's probably little baby cuz probably put thing like that. And then I leave it there because ain't nobody coming to my house. It's my house. Ain't nobody coming to my house unnecessarily. This is my apartment. So yeah, only people coming in is me and him that need to come in here. Whoever else I invited here, but that money's gonna still be right there.
Yeah.
But
how did you learn that you needed therapy, or like to get a therapist, or to reach out for that if it wasn't already in your
99.9% of the people around my family never did it.
Oh.
No one ever did it. No one never is talking about these conversations of, damn, Pop, So how did you bounce back from when you was on drugs, and what is the emergency route now that we take for this new generation? We so spread it out in so much of a way too. And excuse me, I'm the one that's I am creating that path where it's like, okay, let's advocate. Like, what are we gonna do if somebody who got life insurance? You got term, you got whole life. Do you know how I used to sell life insurance. So you know how these things work? So it's like, come on, yo. Do you have a will? Do we have, when grandma died, I didn't even know I had to be her power of attorney. The hospital lied to me at Foggy Bottom. I had to punch 4 holes in their wall for them to tell me that my grandma was dead.
You talking about GW?
Yeah, after the hospital.
I love that we're calling out the names.
4 holes for them to tell you that news?
4 holes.
4 holes. I had to punch 4 holes in that wall. And I said, security touch me. I'm gonna break. Yeah. I had on my dress shirt, my slide. This is what I'm selling, like my dress shoes on. I'm very professional coming in there. I talk to them. I said, y'all just seen me leave here. I'm the one that called and came in the ambulance with her. I left here at 6:30 this morning. I had an appointment to go to with a client, and I told I was gonna be back around 10 o'clock. What you mean? And they lied. I came back a little later, about 1 o'clock. They lied and said they discharged her, and I'm like, what? So I went to her senior citizen building, Potomac Gardens on Pennsylvania Avenue. I asked her little buddies, asked the security, I see Miss Cookie. No, we ain't see Miss Cookie. So I went back. My best friend drove me back. Man, go through the emergency. And they lied. They kept lying to me. 2 security. I said, y'all touch me, don't touch me, because y'all lying. Don't touch me, dude. I came here and showed everybody have respect, sat down. I've been sitting for about 30 minutes to an hour. If I'm not the power of attorney, just tell me that. I didn't know that. I don't know these procedures. I don't know these things. But yeah, that was my aunt. She was the power of attorney. She was basically trying to do that so she can get pictures and get stuff out of the house first. Not black people is when folks die if they not healthy.
So I had my own personal experience with GW. Oddly enough, one day I was on my lunch break at work.
At Foggy Bottom?
No, I was at Children's National in Southeast. And I was coming back from Busboys. So walking up the street, I passed a car, black windows down. I hear a dog barking. I'm like, all right, whatever. Walk past, I'm in conversation. The dog jumps his head out the window and bites my arm. So now I have to get rabies vaccines. I think it's first you get 2 in 1 week, and then it's once a week after that for a month.
Is it chills in your butt?
No.
Okay, you get a baby shot in your butt.
No.
That's a wild question.
Yeah, I was just scared. I was scared.
Get your butt and it's not.
Give you a shot in the butt or something. That dog gonna beat my ass.
So I'm like undercover boss, right? I don't present myself as a doctor. I present myself as a black woman first, just to see how people will treat me. The customer service in the GW emergency room is atrocious. Just the way that the white staff approaches someone who's sick, who's coming to the emergency room, is just very aggressive and abrasive. And no, you don't know that I'm a doctor until I get back there and I tell you oh yes, I got bit at work. I'm a doctor at Children's National. And it's like, oh, how are you doing? I guess I don't need to go over all this with you. I think you got it. Which also is a violation, right? Because I'm a patient. You're supposed to tell me everything.
Everything.
Just
walk me through this process,
but
man.
in terms of I won't even say HIPAA compliance, but just common courtesy and privacy. You're yelling out a person's name in the entire emergency room, and if they don't respond on the first try or whatever, it's whatever. I guess they're not here. We're gonna move on. Or it's checking into TSA or something when you get there. It's give me your license. Why are you here? There's no compassion in the process. It's let's say I am on my deathbed. Let's say I have really bad appendicitis. I can barely move, walk, talk. This is how you expect people want to be treated. It's very disconcerting. And I can understand better. Again, this is another thing that gives me perspective on why people come to the doctor so defensive. This is how you are interacting with everyone else except for me. And so when you get to me, you already got your guard up, which is really sad.
Yeah. when it comes to this work that we do and this work that folks do in the healthcare direct system, I tell folks that you really got to be careful with your dreams of wanting to help people. Don't conform to the negatives of the environment around you. Like, you do have to show up as yourself, but you do have to try and protect who you are in that process as you grow in time within the system. Because people lose themselves. They're like, well, I got my job done. And it's like, you didn't show up for the job. You showed up for the people. It's always the people first, and then you do your job to the best of your ability. And when you lose that, I hear stories like this, and I'm like, I'm not surprised. But that is disheartening, because that's who's supposed to help me. That you remember what I say about how I greet people at my job,
right?
And how that changes their experience, and that affects how they digest just that part of their lives. That's across everything, not just what I do outside of this.
Yeah. Even the fact that they have police officers who are armed at the entrance of the emergency room. It's like, is this a prison? Like, why do we need this level of security this present? Like, yeah, okay, they can be there, but not the first thing you see when you walk in, ready to pounce on somebody. They were like one of the nights that I was there, because I was going there at like 5 in the morning, because the earlier you go to the emergency room, the quicker you are to get through. It still took me 2 hours, but it's better than being there at noon and waiting like 12 hours.
Yeah.
And so there was a guy, he was drunk something, but he was getting loud, being a belligerent drunk person. The amount of force, I won't say that they like physically used force, but just like their approach was so aggressive that a homeless woman next to me started recording it. And then the police officers turned on her. Why are you recording that? What's on your phone? Let me see your phone. It's like, I can do whatever I want with my phone. I'm not saying anything. I am over here calmly. I'm not interjecting into the confrontation or the conflict.
We try to make sure this don't go too far.
I'm just recording, which is my right with my personal property. But she got threatened because of that. And if you're homeless and, it's winter time, this was in like January, February of last year. So you don't really have another option. This is the warmest place you can be if you're homeless. I'm going to put my phone away. But that's a violation of people's basic rights.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, Doc.
Yeah, that whole thing with the dog bite, that was the second time I've been bitten while minding my own business. The first time I was 14, I was running to the bus, and then the dog came out of nowhere and bit me on my leg. The owner said I should have been running. But, yeah. This time I'm in conversation. I was in my bag, so I was mentoring resident trainees. I was like, yeah, you guys can do anything. Then all of a sudden I get bit by this dog, and then
so you're on the sidewalk.
The dog jerks his head out the car. It's a pit bull, of course.
And that's terrible, because when they jerk, they clinch down and pull you with them.
It wasn't that bad, but you could see the teeth marks in I was wearing a fleece jacket. You could still see the teeth marks in my arm. And so the owner actually was in the car on the driver's side on the phone or whatever. I had to knock on the passenger side window and say like, hey, your dog just bit me. She's like, no, the dog didn't bite you. I'm like, ma'am, do you think I want to talk to you today? Like, I mean, obviously he did. And she's like, oh, he's just protective. He's just protective. I was like, okay, well, I mean,
it's not an answer.
Do you have any papers for the dog? She showed me some papers with an address. We took a picture of her license plate. All that information was fake, so we couldn't find the dog to like monitor it, which is why I had to get the rabies vaccine. Yeah, so.
Dang. Southeast DC for you, baby.
Shoot.
It's the jungle.
MLK, baby. With the head, MLK with the head hold, like damn, look, he holding his head. Everybody, I like that MLK. Yeah, I see. Yeah, man.
So when people ask me, why don't you like dogs? It's okay. He's nice. He don't bite. It's like, yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna ask you one more question to wrap this up. What is your relationship with depression?
Man, it's that thing is it's a killer, man.
Literally.
It's a killer.
Yeah.
Literally, figuratively, mentally, emotionally, every damn, financially, every damn thing. Just being honest, I feel like I believe truly deep down in my heart that I deserve to be that dynamic example of a black family. I believe that wholeheartedly. I took the time and improvement to do that shadow work for self, to be that man for my family, by her, for him, and by him, you know. So to know that we not together, I'm not boohoo about it. You know, I know some brothers that are boohoo, butthurt about it. Like, that ain't my baby mom, man. Bro, you still ain't got a job. You still ain't doing anything for self. What are you doing for self? You still can't keep a job. You know, your child need these necessities. And I can't be like that. And so seeing my dad grow up around me and not... My mom was my dad. She talked to me and told me and sat me down on things. My dad would take the condoms out of my room rather than sit me down and be like, son, the condoms is used for X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. My mother would come in there and blast me out. You know, why y'all got condoms? These for the birds and the bees, giving little Jew droppers through her. And they're like, Mom, why are you talking about sex? Like, nobody want to hear that. Like, Mom, I'm a boy. Let Dad talk to me about that. But it was no limit on that. But I seen my dad depressed. I seen my grandma go in and out of relapse and depression when she lost my granddad. It made her relapse again, and she died depressed. You know, she died with the pipe doing crack still. So it was tough. It's tough. Like, it be days I be in my bed. You know, like you just heard me say it. A week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I just broke down on. I think that was Wednesday. I think that was probably like, my birthday was on a Tuesday.
Happy belated.
Thank you. That Saturday was my birthday week, so I had that week off, took my son to Baltimore Aquarium. We had a blast. We went to the Baltimore Aquarium and he had a blast, then went to Miss Shirley's little restaurant, black-owned restaurant, spent our money in the black-owned business, and it was phenomenal food. I'm a pescatarian, I don't eat meat. I only eat seafood, so I had a blast. Like, I was so happy to do that with my son. Got drunk as hell.
After you dropped your son off?
Yeah, of course. No, he was at home, but he was asleep. You know what I'm saying? He was in his room asleep. I was in my room on Call of Duty, drunk as hell. You know, this being a big kid, and his curfew was 9:30. We gave him his bath, and he was good. And like I said, with depression, man, it hits me. It hits me, y'all. And I go in and out of the float of it because I always told myself I was scared to be that person I know I need to be. I am. That's the only thing I'm scared of in life, to be that person that because I know I'm going to drag. And when I say I know I'm going to drag, I know I'm going to forget all about everybody. Because I know I gave nothing but my heart to you. I know I gave nothing. I'm not going to flex on you. I'm just going to drag. I mean, who is you? I'm really going to be Jay-Z. I'm going to forget. Who? Man, stop touching me. Smack you, Jay-Z with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm really going to be that with it. It's like, get away from me. Ew. I don't even want to talk to you. So it's like, you ain't even want to talk to me. You ain't even want to promote my nonprofit. You damn sure ain't want to promote when I was selling life insurance and selling financial literacy. Because it was foreign language to you. Black people don't know nothing about financially, but you could talk about the Redskin player getting paid all this money and Dak Prescott get paid. But where you putting your money at? Why we ain't talking about life insurance? Why we ain't talking about these things that we need to be ahead of the game? You talking about the white man doing this, but what is the white man doing? What is the European American man doing? And you still lost. You still can't say, well, I did this, but I got my assets in this. What are you doing? Do your son even have a trust fund? Do your child even have the things that you didn't have, that you knew you got educated to, but you're not even making a difference for? So shut the hell up. Real talk. I go big mom. Please stop talking to me with the hand and all. Grandma used to talk. Go ahead. You can give me bump. You can give me a headache. The rest of her soul. She ain't even like me, by the way, too, y'all. Cause I looked like my dad, and she used to try to tell my sisters that my dad touched them. So my whole life, my sister.
It's your mom's mom.
Yeah. And guess who buried her though? Guess who was taking care of her before she ain't like me. You like your name, you man, calling me all types of stuff growing up.
Yeah.
But we would go to Bible. That's why I couldn't still do that indoctrination, personally for me. I'm like, how you can still curse me out? We going to Bible study, we going to Saturday school, and we going to church on Sunday, and you hitting the hell out your husband. And down went to the grave loving you, girl. But anyway, like I said, I go in and out of it. My grandma got so isolated when she didn't keep her phone on. You just go knock on her door. Why you over my house? Grandma, you ain't got no phone. You ain't want nobody come check up on you. So I do catch myself doing that, you know. And I'm such a loner. You know, though I had my sisters, I was such that at home by myself kid. Having to go to seek in the world, riding a skateboard, going to the court, playing rugby, playing basketball. I had to find out boxing, kickboxing. I did all that. Karate, so I had to put myself in these things so I wouldn't keep punching holes in the wall, because I seen my dad keep abusing my mom. But she wasn't going like that. She was messing him up too, but it was like, damn, I'm going up in an abusive household. So it was like, seeing my dad go in and out of drugs, doing this, doing that, and my mother keeps saying I'm leaving them, but not even knowing my mom HIV positive, saying my mom have sleep apnea, not make it to appointments on time, get depressed. I'm gonna go to school, get my GED, never go get it. And I'm like, damn, why she not going to go get it? And the school was right across the street from her house. The school was at the church at the end of the corner for her to get her GED, but not go. Not waking up on time, her sleep apnea. I'm not knowing that she's taking different medications because of the HIV she caught. She was diagnosed in 1996. When I was selling financial literacy, I got life insurance for everybody in my family.
You were born in 1995?
Yeah, I was the last one. So January 28th, 1995 blizzard in DC. My dad had to walk to Georgetown Women's Hospital. Couldn't catch a cab, couldn't get on the bus. He had to walk / run to the hospital in 95. But I see my dad be depressed. All the women that was close to him, my great grandma, his mom died, his sisters, they all moved out far. Cause they knew he wasn't being the man that was gonna be able to help them up if they failed a little bit, you know? And my mom was taking care of my dad my whole life, unfortunately, still to this day. But I just learned to love it. Cause I said, let me back up. Cause I used to present, I'm like, oh, I'm about to kill this dude. He like, bring him all down. He was like slowing her down. She won't even go to school because she keep rubbing about your tail.
So how long you been in therapy?
I've been in therapy. I go to therapy right after this at 1. I've been in therapy for about a month and a half, 2 months, but it was on and off too on a phone. So this is my first time having it in person in my life.
How long does it take to get there?
It's uptown. I ride my bike, go straight down Maryland Ave, and then I'm good. Like I go to Bread for the City up 9th Street. If y'all familiar.
Okay.
Yeah. Hence my grandma was an alumni of Bread for the City. She was an advocate for the AA program there. Went there, got help, and was a volunteer there.
Yeah.
So hence, full circle moment of me just going in to get certain services.
I got you. Well, we should end this here because you got like 7 minutes. So just look this.
For real?
Yeah, it's like
oh wow.
54. Yeah.
Great job, though. All right, this has been another episode of Mental Health Monday here with my boy, Brother Howard. Appreciate you for pulling up, my guy.
Thank you, Juice. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Yes, please check out the Purpose Party. Follow us at the _ Purpose Party. You're gonna see a dove and you're gonna see an elephant. That's the organization. Shout out to Baba Cream, which is my cream. Didn't have the sticker on here. Definitely need to get that together. But hey, it's all a learning process. Doing it is the most important thing. I have a product in hand which I can produce out in the world. But yes, check out Baba Cream. It help heals my son's skin, my nieces and nephew's skin. Doc is a great example of a testimony of a person that's seen my son's skin be really diligent of not having rashes, none of that. We ain't never had to say, hey, he got this rash other than his little dry patches. But that comes from eating dairy. That's another subject. That's another subject. Like I said, check out Baba Crane. My Instagram is Louis7Pop. Louis is my middle name. 7 is my son's middle name. Pop. You can see a black man as the image. Yes, keep up with us. Thank you guys for
You're welcome.
definitely giving me the time and the inspiration. And thank you. This is not the last. This is the beginning. You know?
We're gonna have him back, right?
Yeah, not even a question. Not even a question.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, thank you for opening up and being honest.
I mean, that was really a self-driven interview. Like, you didn't really ask many questions.
Yeah, you were just the driver, and we were like, yeah, no, that's a great turn. Yeah, no. Mm-hmm. Oh, great track. Oh, yeah. No,
my bad.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize for your greatness.
Okay.
You did good. That's it. But like, subscribe.
Yes.
Share and comment.
Yes.
Let's give it up for Howard.
Woo! Let's go.
Thank you.
Brother. My brother.